Hi viewers, thanks for tuning into Countdown. The market is a bit of an optical illusion today. You look at the auto space, which is dominating trade today, some of the high flyers like Z, etc., and you might think that all is hunky-dory, but then comes the surprise because the bank nifties drag these markets lower to the lowest point of the day. Remember, we were up about 1.5% at the start of the trading day today, and from there we are in the red, and the bank nifty is down about 2 percentage points. So that's an intraday movement of close to 600 points for the nifty bank. This is very similar to what happened in Friday's session, wherein we did well for better part of the trading day, but then in absence of any kind of announcements, this came off. Today, one of the newspapers had this report about how stimulus will come in this week. I think traders start to extrapolate these announcements are happening on that particular day, and therefore positions getting built accordingly and then getting disappointed. I think it proving to be a bit of a futile effort to try and bet on when the package would come in. Having said that, while banks are lower, just very quickly want to mark what's happening across. ICICI Bank 5% lower. Lower rates for Kotak Bank and IndusInd Bank, as well as the Hdfc twins. Hdfc Bank is now 916 in the session today. So there is weakness across that board. Nestle is down about 1%. Titan is down about 1%. Bajaj Finance is in the red now. So that tells you a story, doesn't it? What is doing well? Autos, frankly, one way move, really. Maruti, Tata Motors, Zero Motor Corp, Bajaj Auto. These companies have come out and said that there are some touch points which are open, sales which are starting to happen, and therefore it's no surprise that these stocks are doing what they're doing in the session today. The question is, can they continue? That's a million-dollar question, really. What is also doing well at the broader end of the spectrum? Vodafone Idea up about 9.5%, so really strong show by that one. There is strength in Heidelberg Cement up about 5.5%. What is losing out? Well, DCB Bank 63 rupees, another 5.5% lower. There is weakness in M&M Financial at 157, weakness in JK Tyre 4.5. But Hemant Kapadia joins in with his thoughts. Hemant, good afternoon. Thanks for joining in. It's not been a trending day in any fashion whatsoever, Hemant. How do you read this late hour sell-offs that we're seeing the last couple of days? Does that give you any indication of what you would want to do on the indices?
A very good afternoon to you, Neil. Thank you for having me. I believe that it's been a ding-dong battle, and the battle is only between two players. It's between Reliance Industries and the Bank Nifty. So, I mean, that's on a lighter note. Frankly speaking, Reliance had single-handedly pulled the Nifty up. Otherwise, we'd have been, 8,800 now if Reliance hasn't done what it did in the last couple of months. And on the other hand, if the Bank Nifty had participated even a little bit more, we'd probably be at 95.50 right now. So it's been Reliance on the one side, and it's been Bank Nifty, which has been almost a perennial drag as of now, Neeraj. So frankly speaking, Reliance had won the battle, and Bank Nifty is on the verge of losing it. And like you said, like Friday, I mean, you have huge swings which don't make sense, and the VIX, okay, it's much higher than what we used to, but it's significantly lower than what we have seen a couple of weeks back. So VIX hasn't done anything much, and we continue to swing from one extreme to the other. Frankly speaking, very difficult market to call, but the underlying theme is whether we go to 9,500, whether we go to 9,800, or we've peaked out today. I'm not saying we have. It's a pullback, it's a recovery, not a rally. And when 9,100 followed by 88, 8,900 goes, it's going to be pandemonium chaos all over again. So one would be extremely reticent to take a call on the market, and it would not be positive, Neeraj, frankly speaking.
Okay, so if you take a call, it won't be a long call, but you're not taking a short call right now either, Hemant. I'm guessing on the Nifty Bank either.
No, I think I would like to buy the 8,500 Nifty put option, Neeraj, for the month end, because I have a feeling that the rate things are unfolding, and there was a bearish gap last Monday post long weekend we had, Neeraj. And the gap was between 9,535 and 9,730, if I remember this correctly. Now, even today's gap up didn't come close to that. So that is a sign of weakness, and if it continues like this and the gap remains uncovered, 8,800 is going, it's a cinch. So I'd buy the 8,500 put for the May ending, Neeraj, because I have a feeling that this entire convoluted movement is probably a distribution, and we're going to go down from there.
It is certainly looking very, very wobbly right now. What about specific stocks, Hemant?
Well, actually, I would have loved to short anything and everything, but I think Pidilite is something which I think stands out a bit in terms of resilience. I'm not sure for how long, but yeah, I have a long call on Pidilite, oversold, positive divergences, crossover buys on the hourly, 2 hourly charts, Neeraj, at 1377, stop loss 1362, target 1407. The easier one is a short on ICICI Bank on a small bounce. We've come off sharply today, and 320 is very strong support, Neeraj. So one gets the feeling that on a small bounce at 324, stop loss 330, target 312. I guess if the bank nifty is anything to go by, I think banks are going to unravel big time, Neeraj.
Yep, 2.21% lower. Mind you, the world markets too are very flat today, quite unlike the last few days, and not that they meant anything for the Indian markets. But Europe is not exactly going gangbusters today. The US futures too are pointing towards a very flat start. So we won't have much global support in the session. That's the other point that you got to monitor. Samir Kalra is with us. Samir, the reaction on ICICI Bank kind of tells the story, but banks at large are just looking very, very wobbly today. I'm guessing in part disappointment because of no announcements coming in from the center. But what do you do for somebody who's got either trading or investing longs into the private banks? Samir, can you hear me? I don't think Samir can hear me. Nevertheless, we'll try. Actually, I mean, maybe I can ask you, I don't know if you give a comment on ICICI Bank, but if you haven't, can you tell me how do the charts look here?
Yeah. As far as ICICI Bank is concerned, Neeraj, we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in the bounce back, and now I think the whole move is unraveling. A lower top, lower bottom on the daily chart today. 7 crore volume on the NSE cash market, Neeraj. That is significant. The MACD is giving a sell today. If I were to have a simple announcement, I think the pullback is over, and we are going to go back to test the earlier lows. Will we break the earlier lows? It depends more on the market. I don't think we'll test. We'll probably go through it over a period of time. So the pullback is over as far as ICICI Bank is concerned, Neeraj, and we are going downhill again.
Mind you, I think him and himself will tell you that the risk to any of these calls on the short side, even though the larger call remains that way. So therefore, I think Rahul Mohinder on Friday's session or Thursday's session mentioned that either be out or be short, don't be long. And Hemant today is giving a short on ICICI, but he's refrained from giving a call on the indices, principally because if there is some announcement on the package or something, there might be a bit of a near-term rally. So you have to keep that at the back of your mind. These calls may change subject to some announcements coming in. As of now, the trends are not looking all that great. Okay, the other thing I do want to kind of just highlight before I go to Samir Kalra is the kind of intraday movement that we're seeing in a bunch of stocks which have even delivered stronger numbers. So Shree Cement gave a very good set of numbers on the volume front, etc. Very good set of numbers. Brokerage is bullish. And look at that stock, the intraday basis, it's 18,870, has come off from the highs of the day quite materially. So from 19,299 to 18,880, there is a bit of a pullback that we're seeing in Shree Cement as well. But let's get in Samir Kalra with his thoughts. We were talking about cement because talking about banks is becoming a bit futile really off late unless some announcements come in and then we know what the announcement is and then decide whether they're headed lower or there could be a near-term flash rally. But Samir, Shree Cement and the entire cement pack, some of the others have moved higher. Shree Cement, I thought the numbers compared to its peers looked okay, compared to expectations looked okay. Is there a good enough reason to buy it, or would you stay away from cement at large?
So, Neeraj, we are neutral to Shree Cement right now. As a cement pack, we are very few names where we are even interested in putting up fresh money. Shree Cement is one of them. But given the uncertainty which is playing out right now, the dynamics of the demand and the volume pickup will result in a pricing power also. So there are like 3 phases they have to attain, right? And already, if you see the communication by the management, they're running now on at least a 30 to 40% kind of a capacity utilization. So there's a lot of OPEX costs which come up. So your EBITDA per ton cannot be taken as on March. So you have to see the new EBITDA per ton from June onwards and recalculate the valuation. I think there's another 10 to 15% kind of downside to Shree Cement. But the balance sheet, if I see the balance sheet will be able to adhere it to any kind of, increase in working capital issues or receivables issues. So I think they can be able to pump up more market share in the next 3 to 4 years. As a long-term bet, it's a preferred bet. But in a short term, I rather wait it out till June and July and be much more clear on the EBITDA per ton kind of impact which they had.
What's also cooled off today is telecom at large. Both Reliance and Bharti Airtel certainly have. The Vodafone Idea is about 7, 8, 8.5%. So there the going seems to be okay. So I mean, is this a pocket that is likely to stand out, whether it's a 2-player or a 2.5 or a 3-player game?
So I think this is more, if you see previous crises also, these are the places where more resilience is seen in terms of cash flows, because again the utilization goes up. But now the whole dynamics in this kind of crisis is work from home has increased and the utilization has increased. Now even if government provides certain spectrum to them and they're able to provide much more better service, but the overhang on Bharti valuation right now or Reliance valuation for me will be how able are they able to push the ARPU prices from here. Because if we see this quarter, the ARPU prices was much lower than what Street estimated. And from me, next 6 months will be very difficult for them to raise the prices from at least 30 to 40% what the Street estimates or everyone sees. Because of the high utilization, you're able to have a higher pricing power. That will not be the case what it would have been under normal circumstances. So I prefer it to be played through Jio Reliance and through Jio, but I'll still wait it out and rather let the cash flow speak in the next 6 months on its own.
Okay. Well, that's one more point. By the way, mind you, I think Nestle has come off quite rapidly today from the highs of the day. Not that the major highs, 17,920, currently about 17,588. But I must say, you have to be mindful of the fact that some of these companies might actually post results better than HUL too, because they are largely food companies in FMCG, but largely food. HUL has a large proportion of personal care and beauty care as well, and therefore therein lies the difference. The foods business of HUL saw volume growth number degrowth of only, I think, 6 or 6.5%. Samir, any thoughts here? Nestle numbers come out tomorrow.
So I think food segment for any consumer staple will be better off, and especially Nestle, because see, if you're talking about March results, the only problem which came was last 15 days, and Nestle keeps at least 30% more inventory as compared to HUL at the distributor level and the stockist level. So that's where I feel the volume impact will not be that much, because right now, even today, like 60% of the volume still comes from the Maggi end, right? And that's where they're able to process it out. And rest 10 to 15% comes from coffee and Nescafe end. So I think these two are more essential as compared to the HUL brands which they have in the food and beverage. That's why I think they'll be able to outperform the estimates. There is an upside risk to it. But I'll not play the same kind of theme for the next quarter, because there were a lot of disruptions. So how the commentary comes out of the management about April and May, that'll be more crucial from my end. Otherwise, I don't see Nestle doing that badly as compared to other food segments.
Okay. Now, let's focus a bit on the queries, and I think I'm told Ajit Mishra is also joining us, but there are a few viewer queries which I want to take right now with our experts. So Deepika Agarwal is asking for a view on Hdfc. I'll take quick technical and quick fundamental views. Ajit Mishra is with us. Ajit, good having you. Thanks for joining in. Any thoughts here technically on Hdfc? It's a bit of a rapid fire guess because there are a lot of questions. So quick answers appreciated. Hdfc, Ajit Mishra.
Yeah, good afternoon, Neeraj. So, Neeraj, yes, after that recent rebound, we are seeing again this gains fizzling out for the HDFC, and considering the negativity in the overall banking space, we believe that this decline may extend further, and close to around 1600, 1590 is what this stock can test. So, one should avoid any long position for the existing long. One should exit and wait for any dip close to around 59 to re-enter.
Okay. Now, Girish Sharma is asking Ajit for a view on Reliance Industries and IndusInd Bank. Either of them or Reliance in particular, but maybe both.
Reliance Industries, I would recommend to book profits. We have already seen a very strong surge. It has tested almost the record highs as well. So consolidation is more likely. IndusInd Bank look weak to us, so one should avoid any fresh long till trading below 490 levels decisively. And in fact, the overall negativity in the banking space, I would recommend avoiding any long position in the private banking or PSU bank stocks, at least for the time being.
At least for the time being, and that might be sage advice as well, by the way. Fundamental views requested by Nirav Chudgar on Havells and Page Industries. Samir Kalra, slightly shorter answers if you can, please, but Havells or Page or both?
So I think both ways, their own companies and their distributor ends and their retail ends will face a lot of working capital issues and receivable issues. So the volume throughput will be very difficult from here on, what they had previously achieved, whether it's Havells or Page Industries both. Because the premium on the valuation is very high, so I would avoid both of them fundamentally.
Okay, there's a chopper just going outside my window, so there might be some sound, viewers. Just be mindful of that. But avoid both of them is what Samir Kalra is advising. Hey, Nitin Thakur is asking for a short-term view on HDFC Life. Again, a stock that's run up quite a bit. Not quite a pure play lending financial. Could it do differently? It is still in the green today.
It's gasping for air, running out of breath, outlook positive, fresh positions, risk-reward ratio not in favor.
Okay, risk reward not in favor. I love the way is using those terms. Even Balaji Reddy is asking for a view on Ashok Leyland. Is that also gasping for air, or is it just starting a move?
No, I think it's the ideal way to say describe what is known as a dead cat bounce. It is a dead cat bounce, and it's a dead cat will bounce 2-3 rupees more. So if she's going to play for that, fine. But yeah, I reiterate, it's a dead cat bounce.
Okay. And Samir, Krishna Reddy is asking for a long-term view on State Bank of India. And I know you're not too bullish on financials. Is SBI at attractive valuations for a long-term investor?
So I think in next 6 months, I think you'll find SBI at a much cheaper level. I'll not totally discount it from my watch list. Keep it on your watch list, and when you feel and you see the signs everything is recognized and written off, that's the point where SBI becomes much more value attractive as compared to right now when things are a lot in the unknown zone.
Okay, fair call. Now, I want to take a question on Dr. Reddy's Labs with Ajit Mishra. Ajit, just before we take in your closing strategies, do you have a view on Dr. Reddy's Labs? It was looking a strong stock, but it's completely given way today.
So yes, Neeraj, today it's down, but overall, if you see that it has almost retested its record high of late, and from last almost a month now, it has been consolidating in this band close to around 38 to 41. So I feel that's a buy and dip candidate. So one should not bother about today's fall, and in fact, one should accumulate on every dip, close to around 38, 37 zone, and with the closing stop loss of 36, one should hold the long. 41 to 42, that should be your target area.
Okay. Well, do watch out. Let's get in closing strategies then. And Ajit, we haven't asked you for stock ideas. Either of them, if it's good enough to execute as a closing strategy.
Yeah, so Neeraj, we have two recommendations. The first one is on buy side for Bata India. So we have seen a decent correction, and now the stock has been witnessing rebound, gradual rebound. We believe this rebound can extend further despite of whatever we are seeing in the market. So with a stop of around 1280, one can go long in Bata for 1410 as a target. On the weaker side, we have like banking name obviously. So, Axis Bank, one can go short close to around 385, 400 should be your stop loss, and close to around let's say 350, 55, that should be your target area.
Okay. Hemant, what about you? Your top closing strategy?
I'd have a BTST on Voltas, Neeraj. 1% stop loss, 2% target.
Consumer durable name. Voltas is something that Emin is going long on. I haven't heard a call on any of the two-wheeler majors. All of them have done so well today. Bajaj, Hero MotoCorp, TVS Motors, all of them are doing rather okay for themselves. Emin, did I miss a call from you, or you're not excited by them?
No, Bajaj is up from 1800, Neeraj, so it's okay. Does some more. Same with Hero, 1500 to 2100. Not exciting. TVS Motor, yeah, that's relatively better, but it's not yet broken out from the ascending triangle at 340. So the way I look at it, they've been up for 7 weeks in some form for the other. So it's just eking out some more upside. I wouldn't be terribly excited. Yeah, maybe there is some more headroom left, and like you mentioned, if that fairy tale elusive package comes in, then we see something happening. But no.
Okay. Now, my question, Samir Kalra, before we thank you and before I get in one stock idea from you as well, if at all anyone, is on these two-wheeler names. Hero MotoCorp mentioned that some flash touch point sales have happened and they've managed to sell X number of units. Bajaj Auto today released a statement saying that a bunch of their dealerships are open and sales are happening. Is this good enough a reason for these stocks, which are well reasonably valued currently, to see some buying interest?
So Neeraj, I have a total different point of view because now they have reopened, so their expenses start to come on paper. And now it's not avoidable to close down again. So dealers, the inventory has to be pushed towards dealers. How much dealers are able to absorb, that's a whole different point of view. Because if I see till 10th of May, from 1st of May, only 8,000 vehicles have been registered since we've reopened a lot of things. So it's too early to say that, there are better times ahead. But I think these kind of bounces, whether it's technical, tactical, or reopening premium which we are getting, these are better places to exit auto stocks rather than entry because dealers are in a very bad financial space now, especially after two years of hardship. Now, if they have to really increase their working level, a lot of dealers will not be able to absorb the inventory levels being pushed, which were there previously. So it will be very difficult for these valuations to be justified in the next 6 months. So I think it's better for OEMs to be sold off.
Okay. What about the weakness that we're seeing in specific names? Like, for example, Astral Poly, it's a blue chip name, down about 4.5% today. Samir Kalra, any thoughts here?
So I think if I see the whole market, 2 weeks back, we liquidated a lot of equity holdings. And what was running the whole system even right now is either if you see Reliance itself and other the excitement of reopening the factories. So these kind of premiums on equity side is a whole different ballgame. So I rather judge every company on the June numbers and see their balance sheets and then decide where to put up. Because what historically was a premium play might not be able to pull up that kind of valuation or justify even a 40% of drop from their peaks in next 6 months. Because the working capital stretch will be too high and the receivables issues will creep up very badly. So that's where I feel it's better to stay away and right now keep a watch list. Astral Poly will be in that watch list along with Phoenix. But I would still step back and rather be late to the reversal rather than being too early and then seeing another kind of a jam fall.
Okay, Samir, just a very quick follow-up. A stock that is doing well today is Indraprastha Gas. These gas companies, are you bullish here, constructive here? 5% up today, nearing 500 now.
So IGL is a neutral place. We are positive on it, but again, if the volume put doesn't come through, even because we track a lot of weekly data, and weekly, if I see Delhi traffic or Bombay traffic, that has not even come to 1/10 of the peak right now. So it's still running on it's increased week on week, but from the start, it's still at least 50 to 60% down. So I really don't get into that upbeat that IGL and NGL consumption will be higher from May onwards. It will be better from April, but that's not what the valuations right now say. It's too high in terms of valuation when the EPS takes at least a 20% knock from it.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Samir, thanks much for taking the time out and being with us. At the broader end of the spectrum, there is some green shoots as well. Just want some chart checks out there. Hey, man, a slightly risky one, but I'm tempted to ask because it's now coming in the realms of discussions. Vodafone Idea.
Well, on a lighter note, I'm planning to port because half of the time my 4G doesn't work, we work on 3G. But from pure technicals, 4.80 is important, Neeraj. We've not closed above that in the last 18 trading sessions. So if we take out 4.80, I think that would be a near-term positive. And the volume today seems to suggest something is cooking, Neeraj. 91 crores. I mean, that's huge. Technically deeply oversold on the weekly and monthly charts. Set for a comeback. Now, I hope there's a right way I'm looking at it. It's just the antecedents don't inspire confidence. On pure technicals, if I don't know the name of the company and I don't see the name, looks good. Better about 4.80, Neeraj.
Ajit, Indraprastha Gas.
So Neeraj set record highs, look very strong. Today the breakout has witnessed a fresh breakout also with almost double of the volume. So I believe this rally may continue, and with the stop of around 480, one can continue with the long position for 530 as a target.
Interesting. Quick thoughts, Heidelberg Cement or Orient Cement, both of them I think are doing well.
Okay, Heidelberg, some more upside, looks promising. The other stock you mentioned is Orient Cement. No, I would prefer Heidelberg if I were to compare the stock. Yeah.
But you, on a standalone basis, you won't go long on a Heidelberg, would you?
No, standalone, I would take the risk of the earlier stock you spoke about, Neeraj. I think Vodafone can be a good hero or zero sort of a stock, frankly speaking.
Okay, fair call. Ajit, quick thoughts on Mahindra Holidays on the BSE Nifty 500. It's the top gainer.
Can you please come again, Neeraj? I can't hear you.
Ajit, Mahindra Holidays. It's the best performing stock on the Nifty 500. Quick thoughts.
Right. Let me the symbol because I'm unable to find with Mahindra Holiday.
Or if you can't find it, Heyman, can you come in on Mahindra Holidays? I think Ajit seems to be having a issue finding the stock. If you, it's easier for you to do it.
No, but I am also facing the same problem. I can't seem to find Mahindra Holidays, Neeraj. I don't know why.
Okay, I think Ajit has it. Maybe Ajit has it. Ajit, you found the stock?
No, not yet, Neeraj.
Okay, never mind. One last question then. One last question, Ajit. I'll come to you. Excuse me. And that is a call on Emphasis. It is up about 5.5%, not the highest traded stock, but in today's session, I think the numbers or the volume is not too bad. Would you trade this?
So yes, Neeraj, this stock has been, consolidating this range of 750 to 640 for almost a month now. It has witnessed a breakout, though the volumes are still subdued. But I believe that considering the positivity in the IT pack, it may extend this rebound. And above 790, we can see the stock approaching towards the long-term moving averages, which is close to around 840. So yes, you can hold this long position in the stock with 755 as a closing stop loss.
Okay, gentlemen, stay on. Let's just quickly wrap the markets. These are the names really at the broader end of the spectrum. You have the likes of TVS Motors, IGL, Emphasis, etc. doing well. But I'll just make a quick wrap with what happened in the index. The Nifty Bank closing 2% lower at the lowest point of the day. And frankly, if you look at the losers, those are the names. ICICI Bank, 4.5%. Kotak Bank, 2.5%. Hdfc Twins, 1.5% apiece. Nestle is down about 1.25%. BPCL, Dr. Reddy's, HUL, amongst the other non-banking names, and Tech Mahindra has corrected about 1%. What has done well? Autos all the way. Hero MotoCorp, Tata Motors, Bajaj Auto, Maruti Suzuki, Eicher Motors, there's TVS Motors, Motherson Sumi, everything has done really well for itself. So really strong show being put up by some of these names in the session. I must say they're off from the highs of the day as well. Tata Motors, for example, hit an intraday high of 90.65. It's closing in at 85.85. So it's not that autos have had a session which is just a trending move. Everything has come off towards the closing half of trade, or largely everything has come off towards the closing half of trade. One stock that we didn't discuss and was looking very strong today was Z, and that one is up about at 161.85 at a point of time. closing in at 155.85. So clearly some of the uptrends have just gotten a bit disrupted. This may change if there are some announcements. The global markets may not necessarily give us much support today. The advance decline margin in favor of the declines today. So 752 advances to 785 declines. So that's the other issue. And the USD INR closing in at 75.74 in the session today. Some green out there. But final thoughts from our experts. Ajit, I'll come to you. What's your sense, the way we have closed today? Do you reckon that there are more downsides for the Nifty Bank or the Nifty?
So, Neeraj, if you see the index, Nifty has been hovering in this range of 92, 94 for almost a week now, while the banking is sliding down, with every passing day. So, I believe that the Reliance and the other, sector, they have played their part to hold the index at the higher level, and possibility of a breakdown is quite high. So I would recommend, in case if you want to play this move, considering the uncertainty in the market, one can go ahead and buy a triangle of 92 and 94. See 9200 call and 9200 put and 9400 call. The pair is currently around 160. So with the stop of around 100, one can go ahead and buy this pair for the target of around 300.
Okay. Hemant, any closing thoughts? You already gave us a thought that you won't go long on this. But are there any downside levels on the Nifty Bank that you are monitoring?
Yes, as far as the Nifty Bank is concerned, Neeraj, one gets the feeling that we've held on to the 18,900, 19,000 level. We have breathing space. I don't know for how long. The daily MACD is giving a sell, Neeraj, today. So 18,175 is the level I put my finger on. 18,900, 19,000 we are almost breaching today. Almost, we haven't. So I believe 18,175 is important. Once that goes, I think all hell is going to break loose. So not looking good. It seems like a prolonged distribution pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 weeks. So nothing positive unless it has a remarkable U-turn, which at least on whatever technical parameters I look at the market from criteria, 7 different things, doesn't show anything. And if this were to somehow pull a Houdini out of the hat, 22,000 needs to get taken out. That's a far cry. But below 18,175, Neeraj, I think there's going to be problem and real problems.
Okay, gentlemen, both of you, thank you so much for taking the time out and being with us today and giving us your thoughts. Really appreciate your time. Stay safe. Have a profitable week ahead. Viewers, it's turned out to be a tough day, but I think that's what happens in the morning. Everybody was upbeat about a possible package. Apple making some announcements about investing in India. The scene was looking hunky-dory. But I think waiting for this package to get announced has proven to be a bit of a nightmare for traders, and people should well be careful before trading that. The kind of money that people have lost, and I know of a lot of traders who complain, who write to me on Twitter as well, the kind of money that has been lost in trying to anticipate this package and making money would be more than any kind of money that will be made once the package is announced. So maybe that's a better strategy. Don't try and preempt something from the government side right now. It will come when it has to come, if it has to come. But on that note, it's a wrap on this leg of Countdown from myself and the team that put this show together. Thanks so much for watching.